Hello, world. I am super excited to be chatting for our July feature, Entrepreneur of the Month. I'm chatting with Cheryl Todmann. She is the CEO and the founder of the Stars of New York City Dance. And Cheryl uses dance to empower children. She uses it for community building and for social justice. And personally, dance has increased her confidence and her creativity, and it's actually resulted in leveling up her professional life. She's received awards as a result of these increased confidence boosts from the dance. So when she left the corporate world and then transferred into entrepreneurship as well as nonprofit work, she also has been working through that to heal and help others heal. So she founded the Jewel and Rock Fitness program. And in 2010, she was inspired by Dancing with the Stars. And so she founded the Stars of New York City Dance. So Cheryl, can you tell the world a bit about yourself, about your business, please?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
My name is Cheryl Todmann, and by day, I'm the Vice President of Communications and Marketing for Kingsborough Community College. And by night or weekends, I am the CEO and founder of the Stars of New York Dance. It's a nonprofit that helps give children and adults a chance to dance. I grew up in Harlem, one of 3 children, and my parents loved to dance around the house. We listen to soul music, Diana Ross, you name it, the Whispers. We listen to music and we watch Soul Train constantly, I think, or maybe that was just me. But we, every Saturday morning was the cleanup day and Soul Train would come on in the afternoon. And that's how I just spent my time in front of the television. And it was part of our tradition to dance in the house. And I never requested to take dance lessons. Watching those shows, Solid Gold, Dance Fever, just planted seeds in my spirit that would grow later. I went to high school and A. Philip Randolph Campus High School in Harlem and graduated and went on to Syracuse University studying marketing. And it was during a talent show that I was in a fashion show, a part of the talent show. And there was one of my classmates who did liturgical dance. And I'd never seen that. I'd seen dance, I'd listened to gospel music, but never saw the two combined. And I was blown away. And it just planted another seed, or that seed that was inside already started to grow a little bit. I got involved in like extracurricular activities like tennis and swimming and roller skating. But something about dance was lingering in my head, but I just never really acted on it. And my aunt, Sylvia, who was very much into the cultural arts, she would take me and her daughter, my cousin Dara, to different programs at Alvin Ailey. And so the seed just kept growing and growing, unbeknownst to me. And it wasn't really until I graduated from college, had moved to Brooklyn with my cousin Dara, and I was looking for a church home. We were still going to church all the way in Harlem, but living in Brooklyn. And I happened upon St. Paul Community Baptist Church in East New York, which I was like, I'll never go to East New York. You know, it has the neighborhood had a reputation. But we went one Sunday morning at 6 a.m. after a night of shooting pool with some of our friends at Brownstone Billiards. And, you know, it was so interesting because I was like, we have to go home and change and get ready for church. And they were like, no, this church is open to everyone. And I was like, you can just walk into church, you know. And so we did. And we went to church. And the first thing I saw was a sea of women in white, like 30 women of all shapes and sizes dancing on the pulpit liturgically to gospel music. And it reminded me immediately of the young girl from the talent show. And that's where I think everything about dance for me was born.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to me that like as a child, you're like, this is fun, but you weren't really trying to pursue it. And yet it's something that you've ended up doing. So cool. So you shared a little bit about where your inspiration has come from. Soul Train, your family, being exposed to, you know, cultural dance through Alvin Ailey, and then the church. But overall, just in general, as a businesswoman, where do you get your inspiration from?
I just have to say I'm spiritually inspired. God will give me a message that makes no sense to me at the time.
I
And
hear you.
I will get nudges constantly. You know, you'll see things, I'll have conversations with people. They'll bring themes up that are similar to the nudge or the idea that I got. And that's how it was with creating the Stars of New York Dance. I at the church, I started to learn to dance over years. There were a lot of productions. And interestingly enough, you know, that particular church, a lot of dance professionals came to that church, not, you know, as a
Oh,
group or as a planned thing. They just individually came to the church, which is, I think, divinely inspired. And so we had a lot of productions. And so a lot of the dance companies, artistic directors would lead choreography. And I started really not even dancing after I saw that group perform. I actually started in martial arts because I took that as well as a child,
oh,
and it was killing my knees. I had some knee injuries, and
yeah.
I think some just genetic knee injuries. And so I had to stop the martial arts. And one of the dance instructors, you know, said, you know, dance can actually help you with your knees. And I was like, I don't think so, because that seems like a lot of pressure, jumping and leaping. And I talked to my doctor. I was going into my 30s at the time, and he was like, Cheryl, if you start dancing, you'll be in a wheelchair. Your knees are not equipped. That's why you had to stop the martial arts. Your knees are not equipped unless you get the surgery that we recommended when you were a teenager. And something in my spirit said, don't get the surgery. And I'm glad I didn't. I followed that. And through the way dancers' bodies are built, they know how to develop the muscles around the knee. And so
Mhm.
they showed me some simple exercises. I ended up really taking what they taught me to heart and became a personal trainer so I could heal my own knees and see if I could actually dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Our bodies can, I mean, and not, sorry, not in every single circumstance, right?
Yeah.
But in general, our bodies are able to heal themselves when we treat them with the
Yes.
proper nutrition and the proper movement. So I love that story that you just shared. It just even from a personal health perspective. Um, so now you you worked in corporate and then you left and you stepped into an entrepreneurial journey, but you've also kept work, as you mentioned, you are in Kingsborough. So but in the beginning, that initial move, even though you've done other nonprofit work, how did you know that it was time to leave where you were at? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get stuck and they're like, I don't want to be at my day job anymore, and then they maybe are frustrated, but maybe they are supposed to be there, or maybe they aren't. Um, and then what steps did you take to set yourself up for success?
Yeah, so, you know, it was very interesting that all of my jobs that I've had a number of them, and they all were, I believe, destined. From each one of them, I was able to gain skills that helped me today. So I
Mm.
don't think anything was by accident. I think it was divinely inspired from all the media that I did. A lot of those media companies I worked for, from Essence to MTV, they all became sponsors of the Stars of New York Dance at some
Cool.
point. So and I also developed longstanding relationships. Susan Taylor, who's the editor in chief of Essence magazine, she's been mentor. I've been mentee for 30 years, and she's participated in Stars of New York Dance. So everything was divinely inspired. But I'd say that at each job, there was some sort of, unfortunately, like some kind of catastrophic moment. And it didn't always have to be a terrible thing. Like I was never fired, but it was more like a moment where I realized that it was not conducive. I wasn't happy. That's basically what it
Mm.
was. I just knew that I was not happy. And it was sometimes a surprise to my manager. They were always very disappointed because I was a good worker. I was a hard worker. And I think that was it. I poured myself into my work. And
Mm.
after time, when I had this desire to dance, but didn't know how to fulfill it, I became unhappy,
Mm.
still working, still having just that work ethic, but they could sense in my disposition wasn't as joyful. And it was always, for me, a 3-year period. It was between 3 and the one of the jobs that I had the longest at a nonprofit was 7 years, which, there was a lot of turnover and I wanted to stay. But for me, honestly, it was typically a 3-year period. And I know that entrepreneurs or people who, they might turn and do different projects within 3 years.
Mhm.
But it was sort of that knowing that I need to move on to the next thing. And as I shared, before off camera, that, there is, I've worked in corporate, and the first nonprofit that I worked for was my church. My pastor was actually sort of pulling me. He was like, "You don't seem happy at your job." And I was like, "No, I really want to do this dance thing, but I don't even know what the dance thing is."
Mm.
And it just grew into him inviting me to work for his nonprofit, raising money. And that was the main thing that helped me with raising money for the Stars of New York Dance.
Wow. Yes. I do think, yeah, where we're at, even when it's not where we want to be, there's resources. Yeah, I used to teach for the Department of Education, and I was able to, as a result through that, even build in my photography business. So the people that are there, it's so interesting. You were saying that your one of your mentors is someone who you had worked with at Essence.
Yes.
So there's opportunity. Sometimes we're just there to learn or make those connections.
Right. Yeah, I would say also that I worked at the nonprofit that I worked for 7 years. I was a public affairs director, so I work with the media and I work with legislators. And a big part of the Stars of New York Dance, which is now 13, I can't believe it's 13 years old now, is incorporating, elected officials, preachers, people you would not normally expect to dance into our dance competition. Lori Cumbo, who was first started out as council member for Brooklyn, who is now, she is the head of the New York City Cultural Affairs Department. She's the commissioner. She danced, actually, would say that it changed her life, even as an adult, and helped her creatively and strategically as she moved up the ladder. And there's a number. The mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, he was a senator when he started rehearsing with us, became borough president, danced with us, and now he's mayor. So I use them as examples of, individuals who have also been transformed through dance.
Yes. Yes. It's really healing. It's a form of art therapy. I mean, I've used it myself.
Yes.
Not formally in the sense I'm not entering dance competitions, but just like around my apartment, I've used dance to actually heal from trauma. It's really therapeutic. Yeah. And it's just healthy too for our bodies,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So because you have the work you're doing at Kingsborough, you have the work you're doing in the community, through your business, you have family, obviously you have friends, because we met through our mutual friends, Kim Hatton.
Yes.
So how do you get that harmony of self-care and rest into a busy lifestyle?
Oh my God, it's always like, okay, every day is a new day, a new chance to go back onto your plan. I have in my notes app a list of all the things that I'm supposed to do in the morning, and I know them by heart. Most mornings I start off, Spirit wakes me up at 5. I've set my alarm for 5 and 6, but like clockwork, Spirit will wake me up at 5 a.m. Sometimes I get up and sometimes I may request 10 more minutes. But I start off with meditation and prayer. And then I do face yoga. I started doing face yoga as something like, as I'm getting older, I was like, oh, I see little things happening I want to do. But it ended up becoming really therapeutic. Just feeling, it was just less about my face and just more about the fact that I was taking time for myself. And then I work out 15 or so minutes and stretch, yoga, I miss weight training. And then I learned to, which I'll start back in a couple of days. I'm going to commit to that for myself. But I love walking. I get so many, not only is it good for your body, I get so many ideas. Like, I feel like that's when I am open, and whether while I'm meditating or while I'm walking, which is like a meditation, I'm open to hear divine messages about, you need to call this person, or there's a grant that's coming up. I don't know the name of the grant. I don't know the date, and I'll just be divinely inspired. I'll be given a name, and then I'll go to the website, and there the grant is with the date that I was given. And it's just, I am so clear that in being obedient to the messages that I get and being still, whether I'm meditating or walking, that my day will fill up as it's supposed to. I will be able to manage it as it, or I should say, I will be able to manage it as it fills up. My career is very sporadic, as far as my job is very sporadic, I should say, as far as I don't know what's coming towards me all the time for my day job. And I just have to be open. But I learned that when I set my intention for the day, things that come, I can manage and still manage all the other things in my life.
Yeah. You said set my intentions. So you're planning, basically. You have a plan, even though you don't know what is unfolding as the day goes forward. You've started out with
my list,
your routine. Yes. Yes. So you've kind of gotten in a relaxed place, I'm guessing. It's like a peaceful place, rather, maybe not like relaxed, like you're in a hammock underneath a palm tree. But yeah, I love it. So what do you feel is the biggest factor in your success?
I feel my faith. I'll say two things: my faith and openness. I would usually say that I am one that is very routine and may not always like change, but my whole existence now is about change. Like, I was so sure I was going to be, a marketing exec and follow that path, and that's all that I was going to do, and have hopefully a window office, on 42nd Street at MTV. And, that was what my trajectory for myself was. But then dance happened, like literally happened, and it changed everything. I was winning awards at work because of my creativity, and I was, saying that it was dance. And I think just being open to, I had no idea that God was setting me up for this life, and just being open. Not that open means that I always did what I was supposed to do, or that I listened, or, was on time as far as like instructions and planning. But every day is a new day to start over, to really start over. And I've learned to start over and make my lists and schedule out the priorities for myself, my son, my day job, my passion, myself. And every day I'm open to what needs to be done and what miracles can happen, basically.
Yeah, I love it, because that's important, especially as entrepreneurs. We might have I have this 5-year plan, and it has to look like this. And I'm going to do this in year 1. I'm going to do this in year 2. And then year 1 does not go the way you think. Like, people aren't responding, whatever it is. And you have to be open that maybe my 5-year plan is not the right plan. Maybe it needs to be revised. Maybe things need to be done differently. But if we're closed, it's so hard to pivot. Like, we need to sometimes.
Absolutely. Like, every event, something happens. Something, as I've planned it out perfectly. Errol Lewis from New York One News is my host. He's also a family friend. His wife and I went to college together. So when they got married, I was like, oh, can Errol host or do some things for me? And for 13 years, he's been our host, alongside me for the Stars of New York Dance. And every year there's something, that happens, whether it's our honoree can't come, or, someone is not able to dance, the night of the show, I find out. And I've learned to just relax, expect the unexpected,
Yeah.
plan anyway, do what you know to do,
Yeah.
and adjust. And it always works out perfectly.
Yes. 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 Especially when your business is around a major event, that an event. Yeah. Yes. I know from personal experience, they are not for the faint of heart.
No, it's taught me so much patience and strength at the same time. And yeah, I'm good.
Yes, I love it. I love that you're so open to it, and yeah, there has to be that moment where you just breathe and kind of release that control. Yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah,
all about that. Life in general is all about releasing control. And there's whatever you call the higher power, if you believe in a higher power. For me, he's real. She's real, and takes care of things that I don't expect. And by staying open, I've had some amazing miracles happen in my personal life as well as for this event, because it's what God asked me to do. So he's going to make it happen, and I'm making
right.
sure he makes it happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it will all work out. So what does the next level of success look like to you?
The next level of success looks like a tiered organization. So there's the
Hmm.
dance event, the dance competition. I am looking to do an e-commerce. I started off doing like merch, to raise money for dance scholarships by selling products with our logo on it. But God said, think bigger. And so I am actually designing a lifestyle brand. When I think of stars, it's something that empowers people and makes you feel elevated. And
Mm,
so I'm working on a clothing line that most of the design has stars or something elevated in its stars. And it's really just about a lifestyle for different people. You just want to feel elevated in your life because
yeah,
you're a star. And
yeah.
so we're doing that. We're working on a few apps, and then community classes. As I learned to dance as an adult, and so I've jumped in. I only taught as a student because I wanted to be a better student. And dance instructors recommend that you teach, even if you don't
Right.
know what you're teaching. And that they helped me along. And now I'm back at teaching. I teach a line dance class in Bed-Stuy at
Okay.
Restoration Plaza. And it's so much fun for me and others. And now we're offering classes through the organization. And there's no limit. And I have no idea of all the things that are coming, but I think a lot is coming that's going to be great for the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. You're expanding. You're
Yes.
expanding. Restoration Plaza, where is that? Where can people
That
find you?
at
They want.
well, yes. So we teach every Saturday a line dance class, and sometimes I have guest artists who teach different classes at Restoration Plaza, which is on Fulton Street between near New York and Brooklyn Avenues. And it's a
Okay.
whole plaza. I think the address is 1380 Fulton Street, but you can just look up Restoration Plaza. We're there on Saturdays outside of across from Applebee's, outside on the plaza, West Plaza. Yes,
Oh, I know where you're talking about. Yes.
yes, at 10 a.m. to 11:30. And then you can also go to our website at starsnydance.org. And if you go to classes, you'll see where we are. There's all the information to join us. And just what we're doing right now, we're planning for the 13th annual Stars, talk about unexpected. Usually I have everything booked. Our theater that we usually perform at has closed. It's part of Long Island University, but they've closed it off to classes only. And so I usually have a theater booked by February. It's June, end of June, and I am working with different venues right now to secure a space, to secure an honoree, to secure all my sponsors again, and for a November show. So to me, this is a late start, but I am still open to the miracles that can happen. And a lot of our sponsors are diehards. They've been with us from some of them 13 years. So I am not worried at all. I am grateful for another opportunity to raise dance scholarship funds for youth and to get leaders in New York City to dance.
Yes. Yes. I saw on your website the video of, I was saying it offline too, of Al Sharpton dancing. It was just That was great. Yes.
Yes.
Loved it.
One of our favorites.
Yes, yes. Um, and yes, I think that that's actually really a testimony of how much impact you're making in the world, is that you have sponsors. You've been doing this for 13 years. You've been having sponsors for over a decade who've stuck with you. So that's quality that, yeah, that's a testimony for your.
Yes, it's amazing. The openness comes and is celebrated because I was not an event producer. I was not a full dancer. Like, I was still learning to dance, point my foot and all that stuff. I, that this was not the space that I operated in. I was a marketing major. I'd worked in marketing and media, and I was learning nonprofit work. So to be obedient to the calling to create a dance event for the community, to, solicit ticket sales, and I made so many mistakes.
Yeah.
And then I had so many successes, and that's just the ride of an entrepreneur. Like, you have to expect that, but to be able to listen and trust that, you're being asked to do this. No one else is being called to do this but you.
Right.
You will be given the tools or the people or the resources. So many people help me. It's not, I'm not a director. I don't direct, stage manage, or any of that. But now I know a little bit about everything because I'm producing this event, but I've gotten the right people to be a part of it, the right videographers, everything. And when you're called to do something, all of the resources you need will come.
Yes. Yes. You said something also I think is really important for success. And we can talk about this in a minute, because actually my next question is the secret sauce entrepreneurs miss. But when you said mistakes, a lot of people are, I don't want to start my business till I have my website, till I have this, till I have that. There's like so many key foundational things that you just even need to have in place, like a bank account. And people are all worried about what their book is going to be like, or what the brand color is going to be like, or having it all perfect before they even let anyone know about it. But then when you put something out that's perfect, it's probably not perfect because people haven't tested it.
Right.
And then also no one even knows to expect it. You're like, oh, ta-da, here's my baby. And people are like, what baby? And you've been like working on this business for like 5 years.
Yeah. I mean,
5 months trying to get it perfect. And
absolutely. That's such a good point. I was a starter. My first thing that I did, I'm a visual person. So I had a logo design. I didn't even have like the basis of all of what the event was about, but I needed to see something that would encourage me to keep going. So I had, and it wasn't my final logo, but I had something so I could look at it. And I knew that that's what I needed. My first proposal for funding was rejected. And, they asked for more. I asked for why, just so that I could know. And, they said that you need to flesh it out more. You need to flesh out the vision. And so while I was fleshing it out, I've learned of another fiscal sponsor where I could use their organization to get funding while I wasn't a nonprofit yet. For 5 years, I wasn't a nonprofit. I was just an event. And so I had a fiscal sponsor. They loved the idea once I fleshed it out. And so that's how I started. And then once I, saw the vision even clearer is when I became a 501c3. And now it's not what I do full time, but maybe in the future, it's something it's growing legs. And even at where I work at Kingsborough, my boss is the president of Kingsborough. She's asked me, she's like, I've seen that line dance class you have. You've got to do that class here for staff for wellness. And I'm like, okay, so it's, people see the work that I'm doing. And a lot of times the people that I honor and bring, from the dance event, I've also invited to be at Kingsborough, to be speakers. And so a lot of my personal passion and my professional life merge because I'm a marketing and communications professional. So sometimes I need to create visibility at my job as well as in my passion. And so those can collide at times and merge in a great way. And so, I am just real, you don't have to be stuck. I still can overthink, I don't have the logo for this part of the business, or I haven't gotten this sponsor, but I'll get those nudges. Just go and ask them. You don't have the date yet. You don't have the venue yet. Just call your sponsors and confirm that they're still in, and you'll have the date soon and you'll have the venue soon. And that's what I'm doing. Like this
Yeah.
year it's an anomaly. And so I'm working through the anomaly of it all.
Yes. And that's okay. I'm so glad you shared that, because people really need to know it's okay that it's not all set in stone yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one day at a time.
Yes.
Yes. So that all being said, maybe this is, in your opinion, the secret sauce many entrepreneurs miss, or maybe it's something else. What do you think many entrepreneurs are missing?
I can say for myself is asking for help. Although I have developed the skill to ask, I mean, every year there were tens or 20 people helping me, volunteering. There's still a pull for me to hand over, I want you to fundraise, or I want you to do the
Yeah.
PR. And I can see over time that I'm not the best one for that, even though it's what I do all the time.
Mhm.
If I give it over to someone else, they could be so excited about it. And I can, and there's something else that will come my way, like that I need to focus on.
Mhm.
Or if I give finding, the dancers to someone else, then I can focus on the fundraising. Even if I've developed the skills to be a jack of all trades, it's the mastery is being
Yeah.
able to find jacks of all trades, like to
Yeah.
find people to help you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, time is precious. And a lot of times people either they give their time away too much, and then it doesn't really get done right.
Exactly.
Yep.
I've done that myself, and it's just being easy on yourself, not criticizing yourself overly, which, all the things I'm really impressed even to hear myself talking to you and everyone at this moment, because I was very critical of myself always. Like, I'm a
Mhm.
Virgo. I think that's part of our nature. There's just certain things that I have watched my evolution, and all the pains that took me to get here were necessary. Don't avoid the pain trying to be a success. Success only comes with hills and valleys, hills and valleys, hills and valleys. Enjoy all of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Hold on and enjoy it.
Yes.
So, how do people connect with you? Say someone wants to be on the show as one of the stars, or they want to volunteer, or they have some sort of expertise that, can help you. Or they just want to attend and
Yes.
get a ticket on the day of the show in November, you said, right?
Yes, we're looking at November. So that's a moving date until we confirm our venue in
Yeah.
the next couple of weeks. But yeah, please find us on Instagram. That's probably the best way. We're very active on social, but Instagram at Stars of NY Dance is our handle. And then our website is starsnydance.org.
Okay.
So you can find us there. And yes, you can email, call, whatever, get in touch. I love people. I love engaging with people in so many different ways. And we've been blessed to engage from the mayor and elected officials and Congress people all the way to children in the community.
Mhm.
And so the organization itself is just about people. And I love to interact. So just reach out.
Yes, reach out and follow, and then share too.
Yes, tell
Share your
everybody.
post. World, yes, so that more people know. All right, I love it. I love everything that you shared. I think this is just so helpful for entrepreneurs. So I am excited that you are our July featured entrepreneur. Thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Yes, you're welcome. All right, have a wonderful
You
day.
too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.